This is John Leeke with Historic Homeworks and another report from the field. I'm at the Campbell Center for Preservation in Mount Carroll, Illinois. I'm with Lisa and Mary Angela at the Maintenance Preservation Training Workshop. And we've just ducked into the shop to do a little work tonight on wood epoxy repairs. Mary Angela, could you tell us what you're up to?
I am right now mixing part A and part B of a consolidating epoxy by Abitron, and I'm getting it well mixed because it's the only way to get it to work for you. So it's equal parts of A and equal parts of B.
And show us the standard mixing procedure, tapping it on the bench.
Okay. You want it to be a uniform color.
And how long do you have to mix that?
I learned from the expert, you, that it's 4 minutes. Which is just about that.
I think you got it. Mary Angela, could you explain what you're up to here?
Absolutely. So I'm putting the consolidant that I've mixed on the end grains, and then on the sides, and then throughout the cavity. And John had earlier carved out all of the rotted wood, and he left it kind of rough on the bottom because he explained to us that if you have it a little rough on the bottom, the consolidant will key a little bit better. He also drilled a couple holes and injected some borates to kind of stop the fungal growth and that caused the rot, and then also to inhibit insects. He plugged those, and now I've applied the consolidant and have spread it around.
Yep, that looks pretty good. Now we'll just wait for 10 or 15 minutes while that liquid epoxy consolidant soaks into the wood. Here the consolidant is acting as a primer that will soak into the surface of the sound wood and help the epoxy paste to come in the next step adhere very well to the wood surface.
John taught us a different way to do this than what I'm accustomed to. He suggested taking a little bit of the consolidant that we've mixed, A and B, and using it to thin the epoxy putty, part A and B, that we've mixed well together to a mayonnaise consistency, and then spreading it along the void, and doing that before we add the epoxy putty. So this is the epoxy putty that we've, and I'm not allowed using my hands, so this is the epoxy putty part A and B that we've mixed to the uniform consistency, the thicker one without the consolidant mixed in, and it's like the consistency of mashed potatoes, and I'm filling the void with it now. And John told us we always want to do this when the consolidant is still a little tacky, so it gets a good key, chemical key. I mean, not mechanical, chemical key.
All right, that's looking pretty good. Needs just a little more here, maybe a bit more here. And we're just trying to really keep it nice and tight and neat and not spread epoxy around onto the surrounding wood a lot. If we get a little on, it's okay. And then to finish this up, I'm going to lay a piece of 6mm poly sheeting right onto the repair, and then use a wider putty knife and press that. And this wider putty knife will bridge across the repair area and press the epoxy down evenly with the surrounding surface. And I'll just let that sit there until tomorrow. And then this will, the plastic will easily peel off, and it will be a nice flat, smooth surface, ready for sanding or a slate trimming. And after that, it'll be ready for painting. It's a day later, and the epoxy paste filler is cured. I'll just peel off the poly sheeting, and the epoxy's nice and hard. It's still a little bit proud or high from the surrounding surface, so I'll trim that off with a sharp chisel. Now the epoxy repair is done.
John wrote this handy booklet on how to do wood epoxy repairs. And what he's showing you here on this first image is checked wood that's allowing moisture to get into it. And that causes the fungal growth that you see here, the beginning of rot. And then this is fairly advanced rot where the wood is starting to lose some of its volume. And then this is really advanced rot where there are actual pieces of wood missing. It's lost its mass. So you need to clean that all out. You create a nice clean void. And then you add the epoxy consolidant throughout the void. And then you finish up with the epoxy putty. And you have what is as good as new wood.